Hello, my name is King Tonto, and I am here to talk about a lot of things that I am tired of talking about, things that I know that you also are tired of hearing. But the reason I'm doing it is because I want to be able to grow up and show my son some form of liberation, some form of fight that I did for him. I'm going to be talking about my marriage. It's an overflogged, overplayed CD, but it is something that has been taking me back even when my life has strived to move forward. So I'd like to clear up all the lies, all the allegations, and everything once and for all. If you're tired of hearing about my marriage, this is not the channel for you. If you aren't, listen and please focus. Thank you. First of all, I am doing this for my son. I am a mother, not just a mother, I'm a mother who is dangerously in love with her son. And I want my son to grow up and watch or listen to my own side of the story that I told him through my channel. Because really, this is for my son, not really for the public. So he will grow up and watch it someday. Secondly, I'm doing this because my son's father has constantly been pricking and pushing me to do a lot of irrational things online that is not me because of the things that he's doing behind the scenes. He's granting interviews every 2 weeks. There's either a paper interview, print, or there's either a TV interview or a radio station, all on me. He has nothing else to talk about, it's all on me. And they're all allegations, they're all lies I'm here to clear. I'm not going to go down history as the liar. No, I'm not. You see, that's really a very complicated issue, and that's where I really want people to pay close attention. Around 2013, 2014, I met a very lovely man. I was not ashamed of saying his name, but we just wanted it private because none of my relationship had always seen the light of day and survived it. People always tarnished it with one news or the other. So it was something that I just wanted to protect. So I fell in love with a man and I called him Mr. X. And I dated him from 2013 to 2015. And we broke up in the worst circumstances ever. I wouldn't say he deceived me, I just didn't see the signs. He got up from my bed and went for his own wedding. And it just broke me, devastated me. And I think I was in a state of need, emotional need. I just wanted what I lost. So 2015, February 13th, I went into a club to celebrate. Actually, a friend of mine knew how depressed I was from my breakup. And they took me to club to celebrate. And the club is not a place where you actually find me as a person. But I just needed that space. I just needed to just unwind, to clear my head. And on the 13th of February 2015, I met my son's father. He was not initially Mr. X. But as a girl, I had flaunted this relationship so much. He had got me so much exotic gifts. He had done so much for me that even other girls were like, you know what, I want to have a Mr. X in my life. For that relationship to have broken off, I was so ashamed. I was so broken. I couldn't come out to say, you know what, my relationship had been broken. So when I met my son's father, February 2015, mind you, Mr. X had existed from 2013 or 14. When I met him, we met him in the club. I met him in the club 13th night. And we never saw again. I left the club on my own. I don't know if he left the club on his own, but I left the club and 3 days later we started to talk. And because I was an emotional wreck, I needed a new relationship. I needed some sort of consolation and he was there. So we got dating. And that's how I declared him Mr. X. Well, initially, he was never Mr. X. He was never the person who got me all those exotic gifts or nothing. Well, yes, I did sell the car. And yes, I also said I sold the car in my very and only first interview that I did with Azuka, the woman who betrayed me and got bribed by my son's father. I did an interview with her and I said I sold the car because that was the only property in my possession. I had a son. I was leaving the marriage. I was not going to leave the marriage empty. Like I said on Instagram, if I saw his soul, I would have sold it. If there was any other property that he had apart from that car, I would have sold it because I was a wife, not a girlfriend. I have a son for you, I have a child for you. So that's it. On the car issue, I was pregnant and I went to give birth. I was in America then. Before now, we've had so much hardship. So much hardship. He had not been able to provide for me. I met him broke and I married him broke. So when I was in America, the joy of your husband sending you pictures, oh, I got you this car. I was elated. I was happy. I was overwhelmed that, oh, you know what? Look at how much this guy could not even pay for a wedding, to the fact that now he is buying me a car. I was very happy. So I did post it on Instagram. But I never knew that the car was not even in my name. I never knew that the car was not even my own. Because he knows that I'm a kind of person who wears my heart on my sleeve. If I love you, you would know it. If the world would know it. If I don't like you, it's very evident. If I want to love you, it's evident. So there is no in between. It's either black or white. So he knew that the excitement will make me post those videos. And that's where I would always say that he's a narcissist. He sits down and he plots everything that he does. He knew I was going to post that picture. So when I posted it, and by the time I came back to Nigeria, I never used to drive after I gave birth to my son. I had a driver and my friend. I had a very good friend then that used to take me someplace because I didn't even know Abuja. So there was a day she got into trouble with the law, and they needed the owner of the car. So she had to come get me. So I went there to the law office and they said, Madam, I know that you're Tonto, but you need to get the vehicle papers. So I had to go back home. I opened our safe. That was the first time I ever saw the car papers. I looked at the papers. It wasn't my name. It wasn't even my son's father's name. It was just a neutral name, and the price there was, I think, 16 or 15 million naira. So I wasn't bothered about it. But by the time I asked him, he didn't have any good explanation to give to me. So for me, I was like, you know what? Even if it's not in my name, as far as he said he bought the car for me, what belongs to my husband, it's mine. So that was how I got to post that video, that picture, like it was mine. And now I didn't sell the car while I was living in his house. I sold the car the very day I left his house and saying I did not want the marriage again. It was the only property that was available because the house we lived in was rented. I know that he said that it was bought, but it was rented. It was rented and it was furnished. It came with everything, even to the pillows. I think I only bought like 2 or 3 pillows from America to add up to the pillows at home, and a dining table. That is all we bought and contributed into that home. So there was nothing for me to have sold. So I sold the only possession, which was a car, which I didn't really need. I have cars in Port Harcourt. I have my G-Wagon in Port Harcourt. I have my Hummer. I had my Hummer. I still had my FJ Cruiser. No, sorry, not my FJ Cruiser. My FX Infinity. I still had I had one other small car. One of that Toyota. So I still had all those things I'd already sent to my family. So I didn't really need a car. I needed the money so I could start up a new life, and that's what I did. Now looking back, I think it was all the lies. It was all the lies because everything I ever liked about him was a lie. I'm not saying that I went out there to say I want to date or I want to get married to a who is in Nigeria. But I am Tonto. You don't expect me to get married to a pauper. So definitely when he said I am Obasanjo's son, when his own mother told me I'm Obasanjo's wife, it was a plus for me. It was a plus. When you tell me that the house that I'm coming to Ghana to visit is your own property, because it was a large property. He said it was his own property, which he could never even prove ownership. And it will still come up because I have proof of someone embarrassing us on Instagram about the house not being his own, and he's owing, and he's destroyed the whole property. So when you get to hear about a life that you can live with a man, that you don't have to extremely worry. When I knew that he was broke, and I understood that, okay, this is the situation, I get broke. Everybody gets broke. That's life. Every good businessman or good businesswoman should get broke, because you put in your money and wait for more to come in. So that was the situation I thought that this man was in. I never knew it was fraud. I never knew it was Yahoo, that the money will come this year and in 5 years you are out of money till maybe another. That's how it is for some of them. So that was not what I thought. I was told that this man is into IT. Until date, there is nothing on the face of the earth that has shown that this man has done any IT job for anybody. I didn't go out getting married to a 419 person. I've been duped in the past. And it's something that I do know that carries a lot of cost spiritually, because I know how much I insulted the person who stole even just 100 naira from me. Well, I wouldn't take all of that away. Maybe I felt something, but right now, sitting down here, I would not like to call it love, because it was never based on the truth. It was based on lies. So it was infatuation. He didn't pay for anything at all. You see, a lot of people say, oh, you're very stupid. Oh, you paid for your wedding. You're very desperate. No, it didn't happen that way. I lived here in Nigeria and he lived in Ghana. Whenever he came here, he lived with me. Whenever I went to Ghana, I lived with him. So that was how the relationship was. When we were planning our wedding, I was here in Nigeria, he was in Ghana. And all he kept saying was, baby, go ahead and spend. Baby, go ahead and spend. I will repay you back. You see what? The reason I actually did this interview is because I have a lot of proof. I have a lot of documents to back up everything I said. This is, first of all, I'd like to say there is no kind of proof in this world that stands out than a conversation between two people. Now, I cannot forge a document about somebody else. The network would sue me, the person would sue me. So if this is not his number, I would be sued. Now, these are documents of me asking this man to pay me back the money I used in marrying him. In this document also, you would also see his replies. There is also a document stated here when I said that he never gave me any money, and he acknowledged it, that he never gave me any money for. I said, Ola, the only money you gave me for the wedding is 1.7 million. Even your family contributed 1 million inside this money. You asked me to keep spending my money. You would pay me back. I don't know why it's an issue now. Is 1.7 million my bride price, or is that what bought the drinks, flew you there, paid for hotel, and fed you? My friend's boyfriend paid for the hotel that my husband slept with me in, made love to me in on the day of my wedding. It was another man that paid for it. To the drinks of my wedding, I paid for it. I flew my ex-husband down from Ghana to Nigeria, to my village, to get married to me. His uncle, God bless him, he's a pastor, gave me 1 million naira through my son's father. That is the 1.7 million I was talking about. Then my son's father gave me two different money, 300,000 naira once and 400,000 naira once, which is making 700,000, which I never used that money for the wedding, because by the time it came in, I'd already spent and I've already dispatched all the money that was out. So yes, these are all the documents that shows that Olakunle Churchill was married by a woman's money. It's here. So if you say that this is not your number, Olakunle Churchill, I will prove to the world that this is your number. I will go to every network that you use and I'll prove to them that this is your number, because this is your number. And these are all the proof that you, even in here, he negotiated my bill. Because when I asked him for this money was after we got married. I knew that I wanted to leave him. So I started asking for all of my properties. I just wanted to, in disguise, to take everything I had and leave. So I started to ask him for it. And at the end of this, At the end of this, he paid me 10 million naira. That was 2016 December. That was the month I left him. That's when he gave me 10 million naira as a cover for everything I did. In here is also a message that he asked me that I should how much. She said, baby, how much have you spent so far from the introduction up to date? Give me. That's what he does sometimes. So if I ask him for my money for too much, then he will now say, oh, send me, and in the next 1 month he doesn't send my money anymore. So these are all the proof that I paid to marry this man, and this man did not spend a dime, not even for food. I seriously don't want to break down, because aside from the first time I did my interview, that was the only point where I was weak. Right now, I'm not weak. I'm a tiger. Right now, I'm a tiger out for blood. So there is no weakness here. I feel terrible. I feel bad. I feel used. I am the biggest scam that Churchill or Lakunle or Laduni has ever played in his life. I never wanted to have a child. I've always said it on all my interviews. So I was not using a child to trap a man. There was no reason for me to use a child to trap a man, because I had said it in all my interviews. I don't want to have children. And I didn't want to have children for my personal reasons. I had mommy issues. My mother died. I was scared of losing myself and losing I just didn't want to go down that road. I met some man who I thought was a human being, who cajoled me, lied to me, beat me into getting what he wanted. I'm not going to keep quiet anymore. No. Yes. The first interview I did, which was with Azuka, the woman who actually deceived me to take an interview for me and got bribed by King's father. Now, I gave them this picture. There's a picture of me here, and there's also another picture. This one, my son's father actually released him. His media people actually released it to the internet, on the internet. This is actually a video of me trying to hit him. And if you look closely on this video, you will know that my face has been battered. My face had potholes, like you could see all of that. Now, I'm sure the video will also play. Now, this is also one of my pictures. This is a black eye. I also gave them a picture of one of my ribs. This is a black eye. I gave it to them, and they said that I made this up like it was a makeup artist. I want to appeal to the whole of Nigeria and all the makeup artists in African Nigeria, everywhere I've ever traveled to. If you did this makeup for me, please, it is not time for you to keep quiet. Come out and speak and call me a liar that I did a makeup for this. I have been told that they were going to take this picture for forensic. I was so happy when they said that. It's been 3 years now, nobody has brought out a forensic about this picture. I lost a pregnancy. There was a night, one of the days I confirmed that this man was truly Yahoo. After I came back from giving birth for my son, I had been suspecting that he was Yahoo. Before I even came back to Nigeria, I had started to suspect. But the only thing that actually made me confirm was a night. He wasn't supposed to be home that night. And I slept early. Because of my son, I sleep early. And I went and I heard some noise upstairs in his room, because he's in the penthouse and my room is under. So I heard the noise upstairs. Nobody was supposed to be in that room. So I was going to go check what was happening in the room. I opened up this room. I saw a full-grown man wearing a red cloth in his waist with red candles everywhere around him with a laptop in his hand. Immediately I saw that, I was shocked. I was simply shocked. And I was shocked. I was not scared, but I was shocked. But I just started laughing like a mad person. I just started laughing. He got me, and that was one of the fights we fought after King. When I lost my pregnancy, he pushed me down a flight of 3 stairs. We were fighting. Now, people will say, you know what, Tonto, why did you stay and you fought so long and you are fighting? This man is hitting you and you're fighting and you're not leaving. Domestic violence, it's not always very easy for you to walk away from. And don't forget the fact that everybody wanted this relationship to fail, even you that's watching it. You told yourself, you told your mother, you told your father, you told your sisters, you told your brothers that Tonto's marriage was not going to last. So how would I have left a marriage that you thought was not going to last? Would I not have worked so, at least to a little extent, to make it work, even if I was dying? A lot of people are going through this. Most of you sitting at home, even criticizing me, you are going through this. They are beating you every day and you are enjoying it because of your children's sake. I was one of the only few people who could not. And I'm speaking out. And I would not be called a liar for speaking out. If you want to take this picture to America, to London, to Europe for forensic, I am in. And secondly, when Azuka was bribed and she said to work for Churchill after my interview, I told Azuka something. I said, Azuka, please, why would this man, the house we fought in was his mother's house. His mother just bought a new house for herself. She works for a mental home. So she's a hard worker. And I don't know, but I know she works for a mental home. So when she came back home December, she wanted to buy a house. Before December, she wanted to buy a house. So she bought the house for December 2016. And when we went there, that's where the fight happened. And that's where I left from Lagos back to Abuja and I ended the marriage. That was the house I left from. That house had cameras at every angle. Every angle. In fact, there was nothing you could do in that house that didn't have camera. I told Azuka, I said, you know what, Azuka, if I was Churchill, that a woman comes out to say, you beat me up, and I have this technology in my home that will vindicate me, why would I not bring it out? Why would I not release it? Rather, you are releasing a phone recording that you recorded after you finished beating me and my blood was all over the floor. And your mother was behind the scene saying, oh, I'm scared for my son's life. Meanwhile, it was her daughter-in-law's blood that was on the floor. But she was scared for her son's life. That had no injury on him. Why was the CCTV camera not released? That would have been an easy vindication to call me a freaking liar. That would have been an easy vindication for the world to say, you know what, Tonto is a write-off. Release it. Because he can't release because those tapes showed how much he constructively beat me up. His brother came out and said that I beat him. And when his brother said I beat him, if you notice, you have to be holding somebody behind for me to bite you here. Do you understand? You have to hold me. If you hold me like this, okay, this is me, right? If you hold me like this, and this is me, this is you. The only thing that I can do is turn back here and bite you. Because my hands are locked. So I beat the brother and I beat his skin real good. I thought I even ate the flesh. I beat it real good. And that's when all of them gathered and they started beating me. And that's when the mother fell down. You can imagine me falling your mother in front of two of his sons. A mother in front of two of his sons. Would you think any woman will survive it? Even if you kill that woman, nobody will blame you. Nigerian mentality. Nobody will support the woman. Nobody would. They said I pushed her down the stairs. Directly in front of the stairs is the camera. I need that photography. I need that photograph to come out. Release it. Why are we going back and forth? You beat me, you don't beat me. I know how much this man cries every night because of the pregnancy I lost. I know how much you tell me that your children are chasing you in your dreams because of the pregnancy you made me lose by beating me. And now you sit down and say you never touched me. I'm glad that somebody else is beating your mother too, because I heard that her taxi driver boyfriend is beating her too. I'm glad. I never pushed his mother down. But what I know I did, I was disrespectful when I know that she was there and she was watching all of these things happen. And she called my mother in the middle of the fight when her son was beating me and said, your daughter is fighting, oh! Your daughter is fighting, oh! That is what this woman called my mother to say while I was being held and being beaten. And when I heard that, I lost it. I know I said some things. But I made it right by going back to her because my father said, go back and apologize. And when I went back to that woman and apologized to her, she knelt down, laid down in front of me, my leg, in front of my other sister, and was begging me not to leave her son. Begging me and telling me to forget everything. And I told her, and that's when I stood my ground. I said, Mommy, I am sorry. My father said I should come and apologize to you. I am sorry for ever speaking to you wrongly. Ever speaking to you wrongly, because that's the only thing I did wrong. Ever speaking to you wrongly. And I left her with the fact that I did not want to be part of this family again. And I went back. I'd already moved out of the house anyways. So why I was coming back to Lagos was just because my father said, you must apologize. I never pushed that woman down, and God is my witness. I became a mother. I became a mother. What I did not want became the only thing that mattered. My son is literally the only thing that really matters. And that was one reason why I did everything in my power to not go back to the kind of life that I used to live. I mean, I was never really a bad person, okay? Smoked one cannabis here and there, you know, had my own share of this and that. But I've never been an addict of anything, never. But just knowing that I was responsible for something growing inside of me. I actually quit smoking before I became pregnant. But being pregnant was actually a motivation to live a cleaner life. All I think about is, what if my son needs blood today and I'm rushed to a hospital? And because of I smoked one split, or because I drank too much alcohol, I cannot give him blood. And that's the reason why, God forbid, he might not make it. You know, I worry a lot about my son because I love him so much. Yes, he might have not been in my plan, but he was in God's plan, and God put him where he was supposed to be. So I have no regrets for my son. And about the drug allegation, these are all of my documents. Yes, I gave the court substantial amount of proof. I'm just going to show you just a little bit of one, of some things I would wake up and find under my pillow, under my son's bed, on top of my son's novel. This is a conversation between myself and my son's father's younger brother, when I was saying that they need to come and take this shit out of my home because I've left him now. I've divorced him already. So I said they need to come and break whatever curse is on this shit. And I gave the court, yes, the court actually does not admit diabolism, but the strength of my accusation make them worry for concern about my child, because it's a boy's life. If I can speak and I can talk, and this is all they did to me, I would wake up. His mother was we were married for. He said we were married that we lived together for 6 months, but we lived together for 10 months after marriage, because I came back from America 2 months after I gave birth, February. 2 months was February, March, April, and I divorced him, and I left his house by December. So that's 9-10 months, right? So he said it was 6 months. I don't know where his head was though, but he said it was 6 months, and I'm saying it was 9-10 months that we lived together. And in that 9 to 10 months, his mother was there maybe like 5 times, and she would stay for like maybe 2 weeks. It's okay. Family is okay. I did not worry about that. My concern was the spiritual artifact that this woman would bring into the house all the time. That was only the time when I became defensive or I became disrespectful to any member of his family when it came to that, because I always spoke up. I never kept quiet about it. I always spoke up. So we always had fights about it. I also have documents of him telling me how he wants to go back. I'm sure all of those things will come up on this thing. How he wants to, how he was going to borrow money from me so he can go and do some jazz. I have all the documents here. Because he has a daughter already who he says that he doesn't have. I mean, he came out and said that he has no child apart from King. This man has a child. And the mother of this child is jealously protecting the girl not to even be close to them, because we all know, for one, I got married to him, so I know who he is. Churchill is a very selfish, manipulative person. This is a man that would insult his own mother, call her all sorts of names, treat her as though she was a scum, or reply her. He's a terrible person, so to speak. He's a very terrible person. And the only thing he cares about, and that's why anytime we fought, anytime he hit me and he beat me, I would always go to his jazz drawer, I would break his jazz, or I would go to his clothes where he has his designers. I would break them, or I would break his laptop, because I know that was the only thing that affected him. And I can remember clearly, he said it in his interview the first time, we still with the same Azuka. And I also have documents of me telling Azuka, there's a document here. I said, Azuka, I said, I'm born again, and I would not lie that I never broke properties. Anytime I was beaten, my revenge was to go back and break everything. So yes, I broke properties. I destroyed properties. He can do anything to anybody because he wants to be rich. There's actually something, I'm not going to say, I will wait to be pushed. I will wait to be pushed. There is something I saw between him and his mother. But I will wait, Churchill, to be pushed. I have said it once in a message. It was there. Maybe people will forget about it. But I will wait to be pushed. Now, fraud 419, Yahoo. You know, you go online, you dupe white women, you go online, you dupe people. That's what my son's father does. I'm not proud of it. I'm saying, I told you, I said this interview is mainly not for Nigerians. I want my son to grow. I'm not the kind of mother that's going to hide things from her son. No, my son would know everything and the whole truth. I'm not going to lie to him, but then I'm not going to hide things from him. So yes, my son's father is a fraud. He does Yahoo. How I know? Because I caught him in the middle of a red candle with laptop in his lap and a red pants on and a red cloth tied around his waist. Not just that. I mean, coming from the house we stayed in when I was married to him, this man told everybody that he bought the house. He didn't buy this house. This house was rented. This approved that it was rented. This approve of conversation between me and the agent when the agent did not do something right in the house. I told him how much we paid for rent. Everything is there. I told him how much he paid for rent, and this is the conversation of the landlord himself. This is a conversation from the landlord himself. He said, look at it. This here is from the landlord. So different things. I know he's 419 because I know he's 419. He's on the streets. Go to Ghana and ask about him. He says he's into IT. Please, what has he done? What is the IT? Let me know. What IT work has this man done? Why would you buy a car and your name is not on the car? You see how this thing about the fraud money? You see, I've led him to know a few things. When they cannot bring in money into Nigeria from fraud, they buy cars. So it is very easy for you to say a Yahoo boy has cars. But it is very hard for you to say a Yahoo boy has properties, and that's one thing that was his problem. When he's out of money for so long, Yahoo does not pay for so long, immediately the Yahoo pays, he wants to buy clothes, he wants to buy this, he forgets to invest. Even the house in Ghana that this man told me, lied to me, that he owns the house in Ghana. Now this is a message. This is a message between I and the agent. The agent came to my page on Instagram to embarrass the life out of me. Called me a very dirty woman. Called me how useless and how stupid and how disgusting I and my ex-husband was. I only got to read it and read it and read it. This is the agent who rented the house this man lied that he bought in Ghana. The man even told me in this message, he said, your son's clothes are lying down everywhere. I didn't know that my son's father had taken his property and ran away from the home. I didn't know that. So they were asking him they were actually asking me that we should come and pay for the balance of whatever rent, and also we should come and clean up and arrange and put together their home back how they gave it to us. I also, on this, I gave the man his mother's phone number. I said, call this phone number. But I bet you the woman would tell you she does not know the boy, but that is his mother. That's the message. He came back and said, I called the number. It was a London number because the mother stays in London. It was a London number. I gave him the correct number for his mother. His mother said she does not know a Churchill, and off the phone. 2 days later, that phone went off because I had already casted the number online. So people were already calling the number. 2 days later, they changed the phone. This is his mother in on the same scam. The first time I met them, the mother told me she's Obasanjo's wife. It's a scam. He told me he's Obasanjo's son. It's a scam. Anyway. He was a librarian for Obasanjo. His father, God bless his soul, even if I did not know him, I'm not sure I would have hated him totally. This is his father. This is who his father is. His father was Obasanjo's gardener that graduated into being a spiritual leader. This is his father. This man has never for one day, he always puts Obasanjo on Obasanjo's birthday, happy birthday, daddy. Even the brother. If you go to his page, you will see him and Obasanjo, daddy, I came to see daddy. Not for one day have they ever posted this man's picture because they want to keep scamming people that they're Obasanjo's son. This is his father. No relationship with Obasanjo. If this man had a relationship with Obasanjo, I would be the happiest girl on earth because it's a name that my son will inherit and work on to be a better person in life. This is his father. When I went for the first time, I knew that he was not. I had always suspected because I was the one spending. I told you, I said, why we met, he was broke. He started having money after I left to go and give birth. That's when his first Yahoo ever money came, when I know him. That's the first time I ever knew him with money, because that was when he paid for the, I think it was 8 million, the 16 million naira apartment we stayed in for 2 years rent. So that was the first time his money came in. That was the first time, the car was the first time. The car was the first time money came and everything started to happen for him to do. So every other thing, I was the one trying to do it for him. So yes, this is his father. You see the same resemblance. Even my son looks like him somehow. Yes, I did. The first day I was going to be introduced to Obasanjo was I had 2 introductions and 1 traditional wedding. The first introduction was for Obasanjo, the second was for my parents. So the first introduction, I was already pregnant, I was 3 months pregnant when I met Obasanjo. The first thing I met him, he told me, he's not my son. Pump and plain. The man does not hide his mouth, but he's like my son. I remember when I went back home, I looked at the mother, I looked at the son. Why did you lie? What was the lie? You see, they hate me so much for my boldness, that family. Because I called the both of them. I said, why did you lie? As long as there was a relationship, as long as this man can stand in and say he is like a son, why would you ever lie? That was where I stood in to now say, you know what, okay, I would not be the one to break it out. That's why when there was an interview online that when it said I showed them, they said, is he Obasanjo's son? I said yes. If you see my body language, I was very uncomfortable. And that was a week after I just gave birth to my son. In fact, my mother-in-law was upstairs right there, holding my son, looking down at me when I was doing that interview. God bless this boy. His name is Bode. Bode is Golden Icons. He's the owner of Golden Icons. Golden Icons is an award. And it's a TV too, and that's the TV that recorded me. I said a lot of things in that video. And because Bode wanted to, Bode knows I've had a hard time with the press, with the media, and I just gave birth. He wanted things to be easy for me. So he sent me, before he posted it, and I sent it back to the man I was married to that time. And he said, you know what, no, they will catch us here, move here, move here. You can confirm this from Bode. He is a media person now. Bode is a blogger because he does all this interviews. So he will not cover up for me. There are so many other things I said that would have implicated me, and people that say, oh, that when I gave it back to my son's father, he said, you know what, let's take it away, let's take this away, let's take it away. And that's how you saw that short video. I was not going to be the one who was going to leak a family secret that they've been using to eat food, because that's the means they use in eating in Lagos. I am a Obasanjo's son. See? One thing I would say I admire about my son's father is how bold he lies. How bold he lies. For the past 5 years, I have never been to London. Never been to London. When I was traveling out of the country, I traveled to BA, going to America. So there's always a stopover. And you don't enter into London. It's a stopover 1 hour, 2 hours, and you go again. You don't enter. So I never entered London. Here again is coming back. Receipt for coming back. We never entered London. Our plane spoiled. And the airline, BA, had to keep us in a hotel inside the airport. I didn't have a visa. For 5 years, I have not had a UK visa. And I met this man only how many years ago? I have never been to London to see his mother. I have never stayed in his house in London. I know that his mother lives in a community house, but I do not know where it is. The woman has never come to stay with me to take care of me. She came to America in fact, she came that day when I gave birth to my son. And I did not allow her stay in the hospital because I knew what she was going to do. They have this thread that they always want to tie on the thumb of the newborn baby. And they told me they were going to do it. And that's why I told the doctors, I said, I don't want my son sleeping with me the first 2 nights. My son did not sleep with me the first 2 nights. He didn't come to my room the first 2 nights. Because I didn't want the mother close to my son for that. I made sure that she never involved in helping me for my son. I made sure I did everything because I wanted to be closely watching her. Because I knew who she was. So for her son to say that I went to London for the mother to take care of me, Olakunle Churchill, what visa did I use to London? The last time I was in London was the last time I fell on stage, which was back in the days when I started having my drug rage, back in the days 7 years ago or so. So how and when did I go to London for your mother to take care of me and buy me all the lovely things that she bought for me? The other way around, it is. I fed your mother. I gave her my money, hard-earned money. I moved my clothes off my back where she says she loves it and I give it to her, she wear it. And you come and you lie like this? God will vindicate me, and I know it. And I'm not looking for vindication from you or the world. God will put vindication on all of these things I'm saying, and my son will believe it if nobody believes it. You guys are liars. You're pathetic liars. This is very shameful, but I'm going to do it because I'm all about blood. And when I mean blood, I mean telling the truth. Yes, Olakunle, you said that you had an account, a Zenith account, actually. You said it on Azuka. That you had, and you said it in other interviews too. You said that you have an account, Zenith Bank account, which I'm the signatory to. And being the signatory to the account means that I'm the only one who can withdraw money from it, right? And you also said that in that account, you pay in millions. Now, you also accused me of not taking the account, which, yes, I did not take the account. There was no handover. But when I was handed over the account, this is it. The money that was inside the account was 319,000 naira. Look at it. It shows you that this is the first day that the account was handed over to me. It also shows you that this is the first time that I ever got an alert. So look at it. This also, I'm sure, will be posted online. This is the first time he paid after the courts. We went to courts in, I think, January, February. I think between February and March. So this was the first time he ever paid anything child support. I wrote it, I said he paid 200,000, 10th of March. March, April, he paid again. He did not pay for April, May, no May. He didn't pay for June, no payment for July. That's 2018. No payment for September, no payment for October, no payment for November. No payment for December 2018. Look at it, no payment from him. No payment from January 2019. No payment February 2019. Then he pays March 2019, a year later. Now, let me tell you why he paid that. There is this blogger online, her name is Cutie Juice. She knows him and have a few of her friends who have been defrauded by him. So she's on his case. So she started to write about his other child and also King, that he doesn't pay child support. So she was on his case for over 2 days. 2 days, which, this was March. This is the 8th of March 2019. Look at it. After the blogger called him out severally, embarrassed him, then 2 days later, he paid. And this is where she was rejoicing. This is her page. This is her page where she was rejoicing. Cutie Juice. This is where she was rejoicing. Say, Churchy pays child support amount of 200,000 on this day, 8th of March 2019, after blogger Cutie Juice called him out to show evidence. Because she was calling him out and saying, if you're paying for school fees like you claim you're paying, and you're paying child support, we need proof. She was the only blogger who investigated and who does her investigation right. She called him out and he shamelessly paid in. And that was the only money my son got from his father this year after 1 year of child support payment. Now, he also claims that he pays my child's school fees. Well, for the school fees, this is it. My son goes to one of the best schools in Abuja. I would also like you to please not show my son's school where you're showing this. My son goes to the best school in Abuja. And in the school, once you make a payment, you get a receipt. If you are not the parent that paid, you're not the parent that will get the receipt. Now, my son is only 3 years old, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For a 3-year-old, there should be 6 receipts. If your child starts school the way my child started school, there should be 6 receipts. I have 5 receipts. I don't have the 6th one because that is the only receipt. That's the only payment I did not make, and it was a payment for 350,000 naira for a particular term. That's the only receipt I don't have. Now, after the court, that's to say that all of these receipts here, I paid it myself. If not, I would never have gotten these receipts. And they're original. This is not even photocopy, they're originals. Okay, so after we went to court, I sued him to court for child support and documents of my son, and also paying of school fees. The court asked Kunle to start paying child support. And the first month he paid the first term he paid child support. The second term I was out of the country. The school had already sent, because from how we do it is, since the court says the father should pay the school fees, the school sends the receipt to the father's email, and the father has to reply. Now, this was the second time, after the first time he paid, this was the second time they were sending an email to his page. He did not reply. So they waited until 30 days later. I was outside this country in South Africa, and I got this message. It says, "Good morning, Ma. I hope you had an awesome night. Please, Ma, this is to inform you that your son is the only child in school
that is yet to pay his school fees. We strongly advise that you should pay. We strongly advise that you should pay. And that's it. This is how my son's father embarrassed my son. This is how he reduced my son. For them to call him out. Me, Tonto Dikeh, I pay school fees for people I don't know. I pay school fees for over 4,000 people for my foundation. I pay child support for over 10 women I don't know, single mothers on Instagram. I pay debts for people. I buy gifts for people. Even one iPhone, one of the iPhones that I give out, is not even compared to the amount for the school fees, and this man could not pay it. I had to leave South Africa and I ran to Nigeria and I paid this bill. That was when I took this to my lawyer, and Festus Kiyamo is my lawyer. I took it to my lawyer, and my lawyer says, you know what, Tonto, you have to keep embarrassing your son because we need all of this proof for court. So now, every time I have to wait to get this notification, so that I would tell the court that I got this notification, it was embarrassing, and I had to pay the school fees. If they say, why did you pay the school fees yourself? Because it was not. So this is how my son lives and operates. The school is there. I would leave phone numbers and it can be traced. This is also a DM. My son's school is on DM. When the day that the day that he was saying that he pays school fees, when there was this blogger who came online. He sponsored the blog and came online and said he was paying school fees. When he said that, my son's school sent me this. This is a DM. They said, it is well, we know the truth. This is what my son's school sent to me. If I was not the one paying the school fees, if I was lying, why would my son's school support me? Why would I have all of these documents? Kunle, I know you have just one. So my son is 3 years old, and he didn't go to school just once. Look at all the times when I had to pay for school fees. And you tell the world that you are paying for the school fees? How are you paying for the school fees? How?